Thank you for joining us today, Monday, April 3rd, 2023, for the 2023 Tulare Flooding Incident Press Conference. My name is Jazz Shaw, Public Information Officer for CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3. Today, you'll be hearing from subject matter experts regarding current flood information, weather, evacuations, road closures, hydrology, emergency operations, and community resources. The Tulare County Incident Management Team was assembled on March 8, 2023 for flooding assistance due to a forecasted significant weather event. As a series of storm systems continue to impact Central California, in particular Tulare County, throughout a week-long time frame, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 3 was activated on March 14, 2023. To date, storms have impacted 620 miles of controlled and uncontrolled waterways involving multiple water districts and water associations. Several rural mountain communities are without ingress and egress, and thousands of acres of farm and agricultural land have been affected. Currently, there are approximately 655 personnel assigned to this flooding incident, assisting with mitigation efforts. Law enforcement and fire department resources from across the state are here to assist with this natural disaster. Those resources have consisted of swift water rescue teams, fire engines, ambulances, helicopters, dozers, and hand crews, as well as several law enforcement agencies from the surrounding areas. To date, nearly 70 levee breaks have been identified. 3,400 super sacks have been delivered to shore up those levee breaks. 50,000 sandbags have been assembled and utilized. 12,000 feet of muscle wall built, and 7,000 feet of K-rail have been placed to hold back rising floodwaters. For the last 25 days, multiple agency resources have worked diligently to protect lives and property of the residents of Tulare County and the surrounding communities. For detailed information on Tulare County emergency resources, please call the Tulare County Flood Hotline at 559-802-9791 or go to their website at tularecounty.ca.gov. For detailed information on Kings County emergency resources, please call the Kings County Flood Hotline at 559-852-2010. To report flooding, call dispatch at 559-852-2720 or go to their website at countyofkings.com. In the emergency, please call 911. Now to provide you with incident updates, please welcome Operations Section Chief Jeff McLaughlin.
Okay, good afternoon. We'll go ahead and start here in the southern part of the county. We continue to monitor access to our mountain communities as well as the uncontrolled waterways as they come from east to west across the county. Right now, our operational focus is out here in Alpaugh and Allensworth, basically the southwestern portion of the county, where we continue to fix breaches, dewater Avenue 56, and begin the road construction project on Avenue 56. We're attempting to raise Avenue 56 from Highway 43 west towards the community of Alpaugh, securing emergency ingress and egress for that community. We're also continuing to work on the breaches that are just west of Alpaugh along the White River. As we come across the central southern section, we continue to monitor access to the communities of Camp Nelson, Ponderosa, Redwood Drive, Alpine Forest, and Cedar Slope. We continue to monitor everything through the communities of Springville. Everything's looking good, nothing new to report there, as well as the flow from Lake Success as it comes across the county from east to west through the Tulare River, both the north and the south branch of the Tulare River. We continue to focus operational efforts along Highway 43 for the railroad to dewater that area and continue to focus on the breaches that are in the Highway 43 area on the north bank of the Tulare River. Nothing new to report across the center of the county. We do continue to monitor the uncontrolled waterways of Lewis Creek and Fraser Creek as they come to the city of Lindsay and the community of Strathmore. Nothing to report in the city of Tulare. As we come across the northern portion of the county, nothing new to report. In South Fork, North Fork, or the Three Rivers and Lake Kawia area. We're currently working on some areas of concern on the St. John's where we've had some erosion issues. Crews have been working there for several days. We're showing those areas up now. Nothing to report as the St. John's comes across. We are seeing some increased water as the St. John crosses Highway 99 at Cross Creek. We'll be monitoring that area all day today. And as we come across the extreme northern portion of the county, nothing to report in Orosi, East Orosi, or Wood Lake. We continue to do work around Kingsburg, Kings River, and everything on the south bank of the Kings River in the report.
Thank you. Next, we have hydrology with Drew Coe.
Good morning. We currently are building capacity at all three reservoirs. Incident that includes Lake Success on the Tulare River, Lake Kawia on the Kawia River, and Pine Flat Reservoir on the Kings River. With those gains in capacity, the Army Corps of Engineers has reduced the flow starting yesterday at 7 p.m. from 3,200 CFS to 500 CFS. That allows us to get into parts of the Tulare River and inspect flood control infrastructure. It also allows us an opportunity to de-water that western section of Branch 2, which is where the Tulare River drains to. In terms of the other portions of the incident, Branch 7, which is receiving water from the Kawia River, those areas are still being stressed by those sustained high flow releases from Lake Kawia. That'll continue for the foreseeable future. There's no scheduled release changes in that reservoir. And in Branch 9 along the Kings River near Kingsburg, that is currently in a flood advisory due to sustained high flow releases from Pine Flat Reservoir. In terms of the forecast, we are seeing predicted for the next couple of days through Thursday, a decline in flows, both inflows to the reservoirs and likely from those uncontrolled foothill streams that are draining towards the more populated areas. And we're starting to see signs of an uptick in flow due to a melt signal.
Thank you. Next, we have our incident meteorologist, Robert Rickey.
So good afternoon. I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what we're expecting in terms of weather for the next week or so. So we do have a low pressure system that's impacting the area today. That's bringing a round of strong northwest winds as well as some mountain snow. After that, though, the forecast is actually fairly straightforward. From Tuesday onward, we are expecting a gradual but stout warming trend. In fact, it looks like we could see high temperatures pushing the low 80s in the San Joaquin Valley by early next week. So, of course, as those temperatures increase, our attention does turn to melting snow. However, I do think it's important to mention that we are in April, and it is hard to get high flows from just high temperatures alone in April. And that's because some of our past events suggest that we're really looking for high temperatures in the mid to upper 90s for an extended period of time in the San Joaquin Valley before we do see that. And just looking at the forecast, I'm not seeing that type of temperature. That's going to be much more common as we move into the summer months. In April, we're looking for what we call rain on snow events. So we're looking for a couple inches of warm rain on a ripe snowpack. And again, the forecast for the next week and even the extended forecast is calling for warmer but drier conditions than normal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our Emergency Operations Center Public Information Officer, Carrie Montero.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Carrie Montero, Public Information Officer for the Tulare County Emergency Operations Center. Here to inform you that the Tulare County Emergency Operations Center, also known as EOC for short, remains active. We are actively coordinating with all of our local county agencies, our local cities, tribes, state, and federal agencies who are all here on the ground here in Tulare County, helping us with this ongoing flood response. We are here for the long haul. The Tulare County Emergency Operations Center is also in coordination with the Kings County Emergency Operations Center as we prepare for what's to come this spring and summer. And we will continue to be prepared for the impacts that may come down as the snow melts into the spring. What we want you to know is we were asking all of our residents here in Tulare County, please sign up for Alert TC. You can do that at alerttc.com. This is our direct emergency notification system. In case there is a direct threat of flood in your area, we can quickly notify you if you are signed up for those direct emergency notifications. Again, please sign up for Alert TC at alerttc.com. We are coordinating with our state and federal partners, as well as our local partners, on ongoing damage assessments that have already been incurred here in Tulare County since the beginning of these atmospheric rivers in March. To date, we have conducted over 2,000 damage assessments to various levels of structures throughout our county. To date, over 1,000 have impacted in some level here in Tulare County. For those of you that have damaged structures and want to know the status of your assessment, on the Tulare County Emergencies webpage, there is a link to structure status map that we've coordinated in coordination with CAL FIRE that you can check the status of your structure and its assessment. If it's not on there, we please urge you to contact the flood hotline at 802-91, that's area code 559, and report to us that you've had some flood damage so we can get teams out to you to assess your property. With that, we want everybody to know that the local EOC, as well as with the state, we have a local emergency here in Tulare County that is declared in conjunction with the state emergency that is declared. Our EOC state agencies have worked with Cal OES to get those assessments submitted, asking for a federal declaration, which then is still pending, but hopefully we would get that declaration of a disaster so we can support ongoing response efforts that we know are going to be needed here in Tulare County, as well as recovery, relief efforts for our local residents who've been impacted by flooding, local businesses, and our agriculture and farmers. Also know that the county has launched its debris removal program for those residents that have already been impacted. Please, if you have questions about the debris removal program, call the flood hotline. But what we're asking residents to do now is, as you're clearing out the debris from your homes or your structures, please place them curbside. And we have information up on our website. If you live in a rural area that you don't have curb and gutter, please place them roadside, but in an area that does not impede traffic or cause hazards to the roads. And again, if you have any questions, please contact our Tulare County Flood Hotline, and they're there to help answer your questions. That's all I have to let any updates from the Emergency Operations Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next, we have the Deputy Director of Flood Management and Dam Safety with the State Department of Water Resources. Please welcome Gary Lipner.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Lipner with the State Department of Water Resources, Deputy Director of Flood Management and Dam Safety. DWR's State Federal Flood Operations Center has been supporting flood response efforts in the Tulare Basin. The Flood Operations Center assists local water managers and local agencies that have decision-making authority by providing them snowmelt runoff forecast, hydrologic modeling and data, and flood fighting assistance when requested. DWR has been closely coordinating with CAL FIRE's incident management team, California Office of Emergency Services, and federal, state, and local emergency response teams in the Tulare Basin. Flood fight specialists and an incident command team are assisting with flood mitigation efforts and provide technical expertise to assist local entities in their response to flood incidents. To date, the Flood Operations Center has fulfilled several material requests from the county agencies in the Tulare Basin. These flood fight materials include 1 mile of muscle wall, 17,600 super sacks, and 193,000 burlap sandbags. DWR has also formed a Tulare Basin Advanced Planning Unit to coordinate advanced planning activities and intelligence sharing amongst county, state, federal, and local authorities in Tulare, Kings, Kern, and Fresno counties that may be impacted by flooding over the next several months. The Tulare Basin Advanced Planning Unit is facilitating daily coordination meetings with Tulare Basin emergency responders and water managers to discuss weather conditions, hydrology, reservoir operations, and anticipated downstream impacts. The State Department of Water Resources Advanced Planning Unit will coordinate advanced hydrologic modeling for local emergency response officials so they can make best decisions related to public safety, resource allocation, and water management in the coming months. On March 30th, representatives from the Department of Water Resources met with Tulare Basin water managers, flood specialists, and emergency managers to coordinate continued technical support to the region. DWR presented preliminary forecasting information and modeling that can be used by the local agencies to support regional flood operations, decision-making, and outlined resources available to assist local agencies with flood fighting in the basin. DWR actively has 11 incident command team members, 2 flood fight specialists, and 3 advanced planning unit team members in the field who are coordinating with emergency responders and local water managers. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has also provided a flood fight specialist who is embedded with the Department of Water Resources Incident Command Team. Our goal is to proactively support continued regional coordination in the Tulare Basin for the protection of the communities and the economy during what will be a historic snow melt this spring and summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tulare County Fire Chief Charlie Norman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I won't take too much of your time, just to kind of wrap up what we've been doing here. The bulk of our work has been on levee failures. We've had over 50 of those, and our rescues are right about 170. Creating some access for our southwestern communities, working on that access road on Avenue 56 is a higher priority. As we talked about much earlier in this incident, this has impacted 4,400 square miles of the county all at once. And we have such a vast area of diverse populations with our mountain communities, our valley communities, and they've all been affected in some way, shape, or form. Great efforts from our local fire agency, our cooperating partners, CAL FIRE, Visalia, Porterville, all of our fire service agencies and law enforcement partners, the Sheriff's Department, and all of our agencies have been there for us. We've been doing some great work. At the height of this incident, which is to say it could be even busier down the road, but we had over 800 firefighters committed to this. The big bottom line is here, we've had no civilian injuries, no civilian fatalities, and that's what we're all about. As we go through the future, it's not the time to be complacency for our public. Make sure you're paying attention to those road signs. Make sure we're out there, because with the excessive snowpack, as we've heard for our meteorology and hydrology, there's more of this to come. Stay safe around roads in the areas and obey all the road signs. Just a quick message, I'd like to cover Sheriff Boudreau's piece, if I might. Sheriff Boudreau had a family emergency today, and he will be okay. His family member will be okay, but just keep Mike and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Number one priority for the sheriff is obviously public safety, as is mine. Each time that the sheriff issues an evacuation order, he sends deputies door to door to make sure that he's getting the community word out. And also through our social media posts, through the sheriff's social media posts, we can make sure that's getting done. Currently, everything is in evacuation warning, with the exception of one order in Highway 43 and north of Corcoran. Evacuation warning, difference between warning and orders, and we've been through this many times, but just to reiterate in case it happens to you, a warning is getting your stuff ready, set, go, make sure that we're ready to get moving, livestock, equipment, pets, family members, and then the order means that it's time to go right now. Currently, the warnings affect 14 of our communities, approximately 9,000 people. And on the other side of it, the Sheriff's Department has done some great work getting supplies to our isolated communities. They've just delivered over 4,500 meals and 46 or 7,600 gallons of bottled water. And as we do this, it's communities that receive supplies have been very grateful, very thankful, and very happy to supply that service. In addition, on the law enforcement side, they've had approximately 308 people from 17 law enforcement agencies, all the way from the National Guard, Fish and Wildlife, all our local cooperators, Tulare, Visalia, Bakersfield, Clovis, Firebaugh, Fresno PD, and Fresno County SO. So as we get through this and we get through this safely, this is truly a community event. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Norman. Next, we have our incident commander, Chief Billy C.
Good afternoon. My name is Billy C. I'm the commander for Incident Management Team 3. As you've heard from several of the speakers today, the entire Central Valley has been impacted by several storm fronts over the last month, along with the snowpack of over 300% of normal. Current weather forecasts include spring-like conditions with temperatures that will increase. We anticipate that the snowpack melt will have an increase in the uncontrolled river and stream that come out of our foothills down to the valley floor, which could have an adverse effect on our already challenged waterways. Incident Management Team 3 has been in place for the last 21 days, supporting the County of Tulare, all the fire and law enforcement agencies within the County of Tulare, and all the surrounding counties that have been impacted. The coordinated emergency response to this natural disaster, along with our partner agencies, Department of Water Resources and OES, has been impactful here just in Tulare County itself. We've had a multitude of agencies involved in this response throughout the last 25 plus days once the first storm front had impacted here. Our operations have included emergency water diversion, a rescue resource response, community support, flood protection planning, securing emergency ingress and egress to impacted communities, and assisting the county with damage assessment process, which is the first step of the recovery process in the overall picture. I'd like to thank all the county agencies we work with. It's been a pleasure being here working with them. There's still a long road ahead for all the citizens of Tulare County and all the impacted communities. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers. That concludes our incident update portion of this press conference. If we would like to welcome any questions from our press in the audience, please make sure that you have a microphone. It will be brought to you.
So this snow is going to continue melting. The days are going to continue getting hotter. And, obviously you're doing all you can to prepare, but are there certain parts of the county that you're most concerned about getting into those warmer spring and summer months?
Drew Coe can answer that for you.
Drew Coe, hydrologist. Yeah, so we're well aware of the snowpack sitting up there right now. In terms of total potential volume of runoff, the Kings River has the most. So we are definitely worried about the parts of Tulare County where the Kings River passes through. That's near the community of Kingsburg. The Cahuilla also has a historic level of snowpack up there. The Cahuilla actually drains next to our areas of highest population density. That would include the community of Visalia. This is all about timing. Are we going to get a warm atmospheric river on top of a prime snowpack? Can we create enough space in our reservoirs to take some of that incoming melt and meter it out downstream? And so, definitely the western portions of the county are going to continue to accumulate water over time, and that water is going to continue to make it west towards the Tulare Lake Basin.
A little bit of a follow-up. Are those particular communities ones that you want to be on standby? Maybe in the weeks, months to come, they might see a beautiful sunny day, and you guys might call for an evacuation warning. Would that be a scenario that we're looking at?
Yeah, I guess the one positive thing in terms of our ability to respond is that it takes a while for that water to make it down to those low-lying areas. So we should know when the melt is starting. We have those reservoirs that hopefully will provide flood control function for us. And so there should be enough time. I work in the debris flow world where things can happen in 5 minutes, but with floods, you generally have some time to react. And so that's presumably why the evacuation warning is in place. It allows people to kind of prep and be ready so that when they actually get an order, they can get out in time.
This one might be for Carrie, but for people who you mentioned reporting the damage that people have to their homes and reporting any destruction, do you want to just kind of reiterate why that's important? What kind of services might be available when people do have their homes surveyed?
Yes. Thank you, Carrie Montero. In regards to the damage assessments, having those damage reports are vital. And just like Chief C said, it is the first step in recovery. So having that data and that information of the level of damage, just here in Tulare County, we have over 1,000 structures impacted. 37 are destroyed. 130 have major damage. 272 have minor. 642 have been affected. Those levels are based off of FEMA flood damage levels that we're operating with. And those are changing daily as the assessments are ongoing. But that is the first step in recovery. That is the data and information that we are sending with coordination with Cal OES to our governor for state resources, state response, and ongoing relief. And then further up the chain, we've submitted for a disaster declaration from the president and federal partners, and hoping to get some financial assistance to the businesses that have been impacted, our residents that have been impacted, as well as our agriculture and farmers that have been impacted, because we have had millions and millions of dollars through estimated damage to our local economy here through agriculture, but then also millions of dollars to people's homes. And that's going to be an ongoing recovery process. So it's very important that if you have damage, to please let us know, call our flood hotline or go to our emergencies webpage, and you can submit a report there and make sure that we know you have damage, that we can deploy our assessment teams to you, because that will be vital ongoing as we work together to recover from this disaster.
And then the community of Alpa, that they were under an evacuation order for almost 2 weeks. What are some of those residents returning to if they chose to leave, and how is access easing up to that community now?
Thank you for the question. Alpa and Allensworth have not been impacted yet. This was largely due to those being islands higher and then being surrounded by water. I think our May crews and all our cooperators were working on getting that Avenue 56 open so we can have access in outside of the community. The sheriff has done a tremendous job in supplying supplies, water and food to those communities to keep them sustained in the meantime. So we're making every effort to make sure we get that done. Thank you.
Chief Norman. Okay. Any more questions from our press? All right, seeing none, I would like to thank you for being here this afternoon. Thank you to our speakers. And this will conclude our press conference for the Tulare County flooding incident. Thank you.